clearly. As an anime only for this series, I felt I couldn't accurately give my opinion on the show even after seeing the first season. Season 1 felt like we barely scratched the surface of what this story had to offer, and with Season 2 adapting the arc that manga readers would not shut up about, I felt I needed to wait before giving my thoughts.
But it's 2024 and now Season 2 is over, and after 47 episodes and a movie, the "it gets better" excuse goes out the window, so let's talk about some Jujutsu Kaisen. That's me over there, watching Season 1. And that's me over there, watching Season 2. Clearly, I liked Season 2 better.
What was already a fun show to watch became a marvel in animation, built on an interesting world, established a creative power system, and characterized its cast and their dynamics in a way that will keep anyone wanting more. I enjoyed Season 2, I enjoyed JJK, but through all its ups, there is one flaw that remains to be at the core of every single issue I have with this series. It's pacing. Jujutsu Kaisen rarely, if ever, slows down and gives you the time to breathe, and while that may be exciting in theory, in practice I think it stops the series from hitting as hard as it should, from being the game changer that many manga fans claim it to be.
Feeling a little cramped, so I decided to take some of these shots outside. Stick with me here and let me cook. Pacing is Jujutsu Kaisen's biggest problem. At this point, I'm about to be known as the guy who hates on Battle Shonen, and I promise you that is not the case. Now let's shit on some Battle Shonen.
JJK's pacing issues first hit me when I realized the show had no problem killing off characters. A great writing choice that will make any show stand out, especially when you're competing in a demographic known for doing the exact opposite. The problem then arises with how you go about this narrative dynamic. You can go the Attack on Titan route, which I like to call the oh shit route, where someone is dying every 5 minutes, raising the stakes and really giving the audience that sense of danger. But JJK takes the "I didn't see that coming" route most of the time, where you expect our heroes to win, but Gege has other plans. Neither route is better than the other. In fact, Jujutsu Kaisen uses the oh shit route several times with its background characters, especially in Shibuya.
Just like Sukuna.
However, when using the "I didn't see that coming" route, you have to make the audience care about the misdirection, in this case the character being killed off, in order for it to truly work. And this is where I think the pacing issues really start to show.
Because there is no other character I can care less about in this show than Junpei.
Junpei, introduced to us anime-only fans in the first opening of the series as someone predicted to be part of the main crew, but was later killed off being one of the catalysts for Yuji and Mahito's arch-nemesis relationship, a common theme you'll find a lot in this video. And I did not care about Junpei at all. Not only did we, the audience, not spend that much time with his character for his death to matter to us, but I don't even think Yuji spent that much time with Junpei in the story for him to care that much. Yuji raging out was cool, and of course I expect him to be upset, but the series tried to paint it as Yuji at his limit when he met the guy literally a day ago. In fact, it feels like it's only been 2 weeks since the series started, and he met Nobara and Megami, and we barely had time to establish their character dynamics before Yuji dies and leaves them to go on a solo mission.
Junpei's death is supposed to be a pivotal point in Yuji's story, but it kind of falls flat in the storytelling department because we don't actually know who Junpei is outside of some kid who's been bullied. I mean, come on now, people cry more about how Mappa tricked them in the opening than the character himself. In fact, Nanami and Nobara take Junpei's narrative place come Shibuya, but we'll get to that later.
My point is that the story would have been the exact same whether Junpei was in it or not, because Yuji was going after Mahito anyway before he even met Junpei. And I get what Junpei's character stands for on a thematic level relating to Yuji, but on a character writing level, he could have been anyone. Nothing special about Junpei. We don't actually spend enough time with Junpei's character for him to mean something even to the story outside of Yuji's development, because JJK rarely, if ever, slows down.
I think I saw some Black Clover fans over there, so I gotta get out of here. But the second instance of this is Rika in Hidden Inventory. I see a lot of people claim that Hidden Inventory was one of the worst parts of the second season, but for me, it was actually one of my favorites.
One of the only problems is Riko, the character that was supposed to be the catalyst for Geto's descent into racism.
I'm sorry, madness.
Was barely a character at all. We did get minor moments into her mind, but the story was told from Gojo and Geto, mostly Geto's perspective, making the moment where she got shot in the head surprising, but not impactful because she was only 2 flashbacks away from being a background character. We really don't get to see them bond outside of them goofing around, which is funny at times, but that's about it. And the worst part about all of this is that these character dynamics are indeed in the show. I'm not saying they're not. They're just sped by so fast in order to get the plot moving that I feel no emotional attachment to any of it because it felt like Riko was here for one moment, then I blink and she's fundamentally out of the story. Side note, I feel like most of my problems with Riko would have been fixed if the story was told solely through her perspective until the time of her death, still giving us that shocking moment and emotional attachment, because then it would have felt like Gege killed off the main character of the arc. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
An arc that felt like it should have been way longer was crammed into 5 episodes, and this can work for already established characters like Gojo and Geto, and even Toji worked because he has ties to an already established character, and he returns in Shibuya.
Hey, did you watch Black Clover?
I don't know how they found me back out here. I gotta go back inside.
But the emotional through line of the story, Riko's death, Gojo and Geto's brotherhood, hell, even the rest of the sorcerers in their youth, like Nanami losing his partner, is so fast-paced that I have to use fan art and TikTok edits to fill the void of the lack of content I got from this arc.
Slice life elements are important to every story. They give you a chance to breathe, a chance to connect to the characters, a chance to see a relationship grow in real time. And while JJK has that, they last for all about 2 minutes and then we're back to pushing the plot forward.
I was blindsided by Mekamaru and Miyo's relationship until after he died because we did not spend that much time with them in the prior tournament. To find out they had some type of romance going on came out of literally nowhere. Again, it was sad seeing Miwa cry, but it wasn't impactful to me as a viewer because their relationship was literally on speed run time. This is a running trend with JJK. Our main trio is barely a trio before a major arc where one of them dies. In fact, in all of the 2 seasons, we only get to see them working as a trio on 2 missions that last for a couple of episodes. Yuji and Junpei are barely friends, Mekamaru and Miwa are barely lovers, Riko was barely a character, and Geto's racist family of sorcerers were barely on screen, and they're supposed to be one of the main antagonistic forces, especially in the movie, and I couldn't tell you any of their names.
The emotional through line of the story is lost on me. Because of the way the show is paced, the only thing I have time to care about is the select few characters, the power system, and the rule of cool. Seriously, this anime is cool as fuck.
I would say the only time a character's death really hit me is Nanami, because we actually got to spend time with him prior to his death scene. Even before coming into season 2, Nanami was an already established character. Hell, even a fan favorite. He was one of my favorites, Gege, you bastard. A working man who just wanted to clock out on time and take a vacation. If Nanami could quit his job, he would, but his morality stopped him on multiple occasions. So to see his final moments daydreaming about his peaceful vacation and for his morality to come back into play, even when he didn't want it to, in order to motivate Yuji one last time, was truly heartbreaking. That's what a well-paced arc does for a character. Does for a story. But I think Gege's biggest offense comes in the character death of Nobara.
Alright, I have a serious problem with the way she was taken out of the story this season.
Again, on paper, taking out someone like Nobara in a battle shonen manga is nearly unprecedented. She's our leading lady, our Sakura, our Rukia, our Nami, our Ochako. The list can go on. But in practice, I felt like Gege failed to pull this off in a satisfying way. The pacing this time didn't only ruin the emotional aspect, but also wasted the potential of one of the best characters. For being the leading lady of the series, Nobara barely has any weight on the story outside of her own personal flashbacks. Yuji is Sukuna's vessel, Megumi is foreshadowed to become a sorcerer on Gojo's level, Gojo is Gojo, Maki is a defect of her clan, Yuta is a descendant of a great sorcerer, and Nobara is... well, she's there.
And while this could make for a great narrative story about Nobara being somebody coming from nobody, it's not explored, and throughout all her talents, skills, motivations, attention-grabbing aura, she's killed off for Yuji's development. Same as fucking Junpei.
She doesn't even get a moment to shine earlier in the arc. This is the same girl that fought a witch on a broom, the same girl that packed up those curses with Yuji, and you're telling me she can't hold her own against this one guy with a moving sword? Granted, she probably wouldn't have been able to kill him due to Luckman's ability, but to lose in the manner she did seems like it just happened so Nanami could get his rage moment.
If this was to be Nobara's fate, Gege should have had her do more for the story in general, paced out her arc better, and established her as a character this story needed, because sadly, and it pains me to say this, she's just some sorcerer.
A character I love, but at the end of the day held no weight on the overall story, only to show up when she's needed for Yuji's arc, not her own. To be honest, I think my own personal bias towards her carries the emotional through line of what happened to Nobara, and not the story accurately giving her character enough time to play any significant role. If her story was paced out better, then maybe it wouldn't feel like Gege took one of their best characters and turned them into a plot device. And I know she's not confirmed dead, but that just means her place in the story is even less than it was before she got her eye blown out.
And this sucks, because I know Gege has a good grasp on all these characters and their arcs, but chooses to gloss over it in order to keep the plot moving forward.
I can tell by the dialogue alone how these characters interact, the funny short comedy moments that are in between all the fighting, and how the characters respond to certain situations. Nobara calling Mahito a little bitch will always be goated. It shows me that Gege has a good grasp on who everyone is, but chooses to ignore incorporating more slice life moments or just quiet mini arcs for a more let's get straight to it story. And personally, I find that to be a mistake. Yes, this would make Jujutsu Kaisen longer, and I'm not asking for a complete slow burn approach, but instead a healthy balance that would make the show's emotional moments hit even harder, because we get to see a bunch of the happy times, making the sad revelation of the world this story takes place in that much more heartbreaking. I've said this several times. I am a fan of JJK. I don't want this to seem like a hate video, but more of a critique of a series I enjoy because I enjoy it. JJK does an excellent job establishing Yuji's hero complex, Sukuna and Gojo being two sides of the same coin, Todo stealing the show every time he's on screen, jaw-dropping action sequences, clan wars, battle tactics, killer bunnies, clashing ideals, and a story that takes the battle shonen tropes we love and makes it its own.
All I wish for is that the show would slow down and take a breath.
Also, how and when did Inumaki lose his arm? Did I miss that? But if you guys want to hear me talk about more shonen anime, then check out this video where I compare FMA to Attack on Titan. And if you want to hear me talk about more than shonen anime, then check out this video where I tell you that the big three are not as influential as you think. Thank you to our patrons, and also follow us on Twitch, because we stream. As always, my friends, I'm RJ Lane, and this has been On the Rise.